Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to episode 6 of Fast Break with Tundra Baller. Let's get things started. So today is a very special episode because we are now doing in-season content. So I'm very excited to talk about that. So when we started episode 1, we were at off-season content and all the drama that was happening. Pretty much one of the biggest things that we were talking about on episode 1 was the Kawhi allegations and the Steve Ballmer allegations. And then a few more episodes in, we were talking about preseason content. And now we are in season. So last week, the season started a week ago. And now we are ready to talk about everything and about my Clippers also. But I know I talked about a lot of my Clipper games. I pretty much prioritized that. I'm still going to do that kind of, but we are going to be talking about other things around the league now because now that the season is running, now all the stars are playing their full time and all the rookies are showing out and we have a lot of stuff to talk about. So let's start off with opening night Tuesday last week. So there are two games, the Rockets against the Thunder and the Lakers against the Kings. Or Lakers and Warriors, my bad. So we are going to be talking about that. So let's start out with the Rockets and Thunder game. So it was the first game of the 2025-2026 season, and it started with a double overtime thriller. This is the first time since 2005 that this happened, where a opening night game finished in overtime. So the champions of last season, the Oklahoma City Thunder, they got their championship rings and raised their banner in front of Kevin Durant. So Kevin Durant, he started his career with the Thunder. Well, they were the Supersonics at the time, but he started his prime with the Thunder or Sonics, and now he's part of the Rockets. He got traded to the Rockets last summer from the Phoenix Suns. And it was just really like, I wonder how he felt. Just imagine the team you were with for many years, and then they won a championship, and then you see the banner being raised while you're on the opposite team. That's just crazy to think about. And it looked like the Thunder crowd is still mad about Durant leaving for the Warriors 9 years ago because they were booing him when the Rockets starting five were announced and whenever he had the ball during the game. That's pretty much a normal thing whenever he would play at OKC now. But I remember the first time that he came back to OKC when he left for the Warriors. It was just crazy energy. Everybody was booing him whenever he had the ball and whenever his name was announced by the PA announcer. It was just insane. So at the end of the fourth quarter, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the MVP from last year, he tied the game for the Thunder with a pull-up jumper over Amen Thompson to tie the game and force overtime. And during the first overtime, it was the other way around. The Rockets tied the game to go overtime. Alperen Sengun backed down Alex Caruso to the paint, missed the hook shot, got his own miss, getting the rebound, and dunked it. With 4 seconds to go, Shai missed a shot to win the game. And Kevin Durant got the rebound, and he tried to call a timeout. But the officials didn't see it, and he didn't call a timeout. And the Rockets, they were happy that they should be happy that the timeout wasn't called because they didn't see it because the Rockets had no timeouts left. It would have blown the game for them because in the NBA, or pretty much in basketball in general, if you call a timeout when you don't have any timeouts left, it is a technical, and it was a tie game, right? So they would have a shot to win the game at the free throw line. In double overtime, with the Thunder down by 1 point with 11 seconds left, Shai went in his bag, did many moves on Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant had 5 fouls. Shai did a pump fake, Kevin Durant jumped, and then Shai jumped into Kevin Durant to draw the foul. So Kevin Durant, he was out for the rest of the game. That was his 6th foul. And that's the NBA rule. If you have 6 fouls, you are out for the rest of the game for fouling too much. Pretty much fouling out. And Shea knocked down both free throws and won the game for the Thunder. The final score was 125 to 124. So a little bit of stats from both sides. Starting with the Thunder, Shea had 35 points. 24 of those points were in the fourth quarter and in both overtimes. And Chet Holmgren, he had the explosive start and he finished the game with 28 points. From the other side, the Rockets, Alperen Sengun, 39 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists. He could have gotten a triple-double if he got 3 more assists. Kevin Durant, he had 23 points, 9 rebounds, despite him fouling out. Amen Thompson, 18 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. He's really showing as a young player, and he's looking better than his twin brother, who is also in the NBA, Asar Thompson. He plays for Pistons, but Amen Thompson, he's looking like the better Thompson brother. And they're both identical twins, by the way. So let's see how Amen Thompson will do for this season. So the other opening night game. So it was the Lakers and Warriors. After a tight first half with the Warriors up 1 at halftime, the Warriors went on a roll to start off the half with a 19-2 run. Buddy Hield for the Warriors. He was on fire from way downtown, and he made 4 3-pointers in the second half. The only reason the Lakers were hanging in there because of Luka Doncic. He looked like the only one scoring for the Lakers, and he had a team on his back. So, but yeah, he was pretty much just scoring nonstop. They lost by 10 points. The Warriors won 119 to 109. But if Luka didn't score a ton of points, and I'll tell you how many points he scored in a few minutes, or in a minute from now, they would have lost by 30 probably. And he probably would have scored 80 points. So, Curry, with a minute left, he hit the dagger to win the game, pretty much. He shot it from way downtown from a parking lot, probably about a 35-footer. And it pretty much closed the game for them to give the Lakers an out-of-reach chance to win the game. And that was pretty much a night-night moment for Steph Curry. Pretty much, that is his signature celebration of what he's been doing lately. So for stats-wise, Stephen Curry, 23 points. Jimmy Butler was the leading scorer for the Warriors, 31 points. Jonathan Kuminga, he was the guy that stood out to me from that game, besides Luka. He had 17 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists. He looked really good in that game. Buddy Hield, 17 points. He made 5 threes in total, and 4 of them were in the second half. And on the other side for the Lakers, 43 points, 12 rebounds, 9 assists for Luka Doncic. So he was 1 assist shy from a triple-double. Then Austin Reeves, he had 26 points, 5 rebounds, 9 assists. So that was the opening night games. And we're going to talk about some other notable moments that has happened in the NBA so far. It's been about a week into the season now, and we're going to talk about some of the notable moments. So, first thing, when the Pelicans and Spurs faced off, it was Zion Williamson versus Victor Wembanyama, 2 of the biggest young stars there is right now, probably about top 10. Zion Williamson, he dunked on Wemby the first play of the game. Then after that, Zion, he was all happy and stuff, and he would just keep attacking him. But he got blocked 4 times by Wemby throughout the rest of the game. It kind of reminded me when the first time when Yao Ming and Shaq played against each other a long time ago. Shaq tried to show him what's up, and then Yao Ming, he just blocked him a ton of times. It reminds me of that. So the next thing, Jamal Murray, he hit a half-court shot against the Suns. This is the first made shot from the NBA's new heave rule, where last second heats won't count if you miss it to a player's shooting percentage. So pretty much you have nothing to lose if you shoot it. It won't count as a miss in your stats, but if you make it, it will count. But this is the first time since the new heave rule. Aaron Gordon, he had a 360 alley-oop dunk from Nikola Jokic during his 50-point game against the Suns, although they lost. But it was a really, really good game. And there was a viral video that was going on where Warriors guard Buddy Hield, he cursed out a fan after a dad asked him to apologize to his son from pretty much cursing him out. For context, if the dad is a Blazers fan and the son is a Warriors fan, I saw that on TikTok. I don't know how true that is, but we're just going to go with that. So, I don't know. Will Buddy Hield get fined for this? I don't know. But we'll see how that goes. And there's some more fan interactions. A fan ran onto the court at the Cavaliers-Nets game in Brooklyn. He charged at Donovan Mitchell. There isn't that good video. They're pretty much just of the guy running to Donovan Mitchell, and then the camera pretty much cut to another angle in the arena. I think it just showed another guy on the bench. I don't remember who, but it was so random. And the last thing, the Spurs, they raised a banner to the rafters for their former head coach Greg Popovich with his name and the number 1,390. That is the amount of a regular season games that he won, which is the most in NBA history. It's crazy to think about, right? He coached for a lot of years, a long, long time, but he had to step down last year because he had a stroke, and he was trying to get back, but he wasn't good enough to do so, and now I think he's part of the front office. But the Spurs, they're doing really good to start off the season. They're 4-0 as of the time I'm recording this, which is pretty exciting to see. But we'll see how my Clippers will go against them. So we're going to talk about the insane stat lines now that has happened during the season so far, about a week in. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander from the Thunder, 55 points, which is a career high for him. 8 rebounds and 5 assists against the Pacers in the finals rematch. And again, it went double overtime. So that's insane, right? The Thunder, they played 2 double overtime games in a row. There is a clip of Shai looking tired at the end of the game, pretty much in double overtime. He just looked gas. It's like when Jimmy Butler, he played against the Lakers in the finals and during the COVID year in the bubble. It's kind of like that. And the second biggest performance, or third highest scoring game so far, Aaron Gordon, 50 points, 8 rebounds, 10 of 11 from 3 in a loss to the Warriors, which is pretty crazy. And he was pretty much talking about him not wanting the game ball. That was his career high, but he didn't want the game ball because he said he didn't want a pretty much a game ball of a loss. Pretty much, he would have won if he won, pretty much. But on the other side, Stephen Curry for the Warriors, he had 42 points, 7 assists, 6 made threes. For the Timberwolves, the first game of the season, Anthony Edwards had 41 points and 7 rebounds in a win over the Portland Trailblazers. And the next 3 stat lines here, this is all Victor Wembanyama for his first 3 games. His first game, 40 points, 15 rebounds, 3 blocks. The second game, 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 blocks. So he almost got a triple-double with blocks. Pretty insane, because the most common triple-double would be points, rebounds, and assists. But it's a lot more impressive if you get it with points, rebounds, or assists, and then steals or blocks. in any of those combinations. But since he's 7'4", maybe 7'5" now, there's reports saying that he grew to 7'5" apparently, but his listed height is still at 7'4". So one of the tallest players in the league right now, of active players, the tallest player is Manu Bol and George Murison. Those guys at 7'7". And Wemby is just a little bit shorter than him, which is pretty insane. But you have seen Wemby, right? You know, scoring from way downtown and doing everything, and he's faster than all those guys and dribbles like a point guard. Like, nobody has seen that. And with those 3 games, Victor Wembanyama became the first player in NBA history with 100 points and 15 blocks in the first 3 games of a season. So for the Sixers now, with Tyrese Maxey, their starting point guard, 40 points, 6 assists, and made 7 of 9 3-pointers. Lauri Markkanen, in his recent game, 51 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists. This is the first time for the Jazz that a player scored 50 points since Karl Malone in 1988. Now for the Nets now, Cam Thomas, 40 points, 0 assists, just straight buckets. Austin Reeves from the Lakers, he had 51 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 assist away from a triple-double. He became the 4th undrafted player in the shot clock era to score 50 points. And then Luka Doncic, 49 points, 11 rebounds, 8 assists from the Lakers as well. And Austin Reeves also, the next day after he hit those 51 points, he scored 42 points or 40 points or 42 points, something like that. So he scored about 90-something points in about 2 days in back-to-backs. And finally, we have LaMelo Ball, 38 points, 13 rebounds, 13 assists. You know, LaMelo, I hope he stays healthy because he's always exciting to watch, except for when he plays against my Clippers. But I hope to see him healthy, man, because I want to see him play a whole season because he always has ankle problems. I don't know if it's just his shoes or if his ankles are just really that bad. I don't know. But we got to see. Now we're going to talk about how every lottery pick did in their NBA debut. So in the draft, the lottery picks are the first 14 picks in the NBA draft. So we're going to talk about the first 14 picks of this year's draft. We're going to talk about how everybody did. So first overall by the Mavericks, Cooper Flag. He had 10 points, 10 rebounds. So he's been pretty much one of the guys that have been getting the most hype in a long time. Like I don't remember, or I remember hearing this guy for years, and now he's finally in the league, so I'm excited to see what this guy could do. Now the second pick from the Spurs, Dylan Harper, 15 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. For the Sixers, with a number 3 pick, VJ Edgecombe. He looks like he's the one of the guys that is producing the most out of all of these lottery picks here for the Sixers. But he's really getting an opportunity now because Joel Embiid and Paul George are out with injuries as of now. So we'll see what he could do. But in his first game, he had 34 points, 7 rebounds, 3 assists. That has to be one of the most impressive debuts in NBA history. Besides Michael Carter-Williams when he had a near quadruple-double in his NBA debut a long time ago. Number 4, Con Knipple from the Hornets. Cooper Flag and Con Knipple were both teammates at Duke last season. So for the Hornets, Con Knipple, 11 points, 5 rebounds, 1 assist. Ace Bailey for the Jazz, number 5. He played against my Clippers for his first game. He had 2 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. I felt like we couldn't guard him, but we'll talk about the Clippers and Jazz game later. Number 6, Trey Johnson for the Wizards. 16 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Number 7, from the Pelicans, Jeremiah Fears. I like his jersey because his number is 0 and his last name is Fears, so 0 Fears. That is hard. He had 17 points and 2 assists in his debut for the Pelicans. Number 8 is Igor Denham. 14 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Number 9, Colin Murray Boyles for the Raptors. He didn't play that much, but he had 13 minutes on the floor, and he only had 2 rebounds. And number 10 is the Suns. The Suns' number 10 pick, Kaman Malach. He also only played 5 minutes, so he only played garbage time. I think it was against my Clippers, but he only had 1 point and 1 block. For the Grizzlies, number 11, Cedric Howard. 14 points, 2 rebounds, and 2 assists, 2 steals. Number 12, Noah Sengue from the Bulls. He hasn't seen the floor yet. He is just out of rotation, and he's not hurt. Well, in the preseason, I think he was hurt, but he might be playing in the G League soon if he's not going to see the floor anytime soon. Number 13 is Derek Queen for the Pelicans. He had 3 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 block. And finally, the Spurs again, number 14, is Carter Bryant. He played 9 minutes of garbage time, and he had 2 rebounds. And now, before we start talking about the Clippers, we're going to talk about one of the biggest news that has happened in the NBA so far. So think of this. It was last Thursday morning. I woke up, checked my phone, and I saw this. Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier, they got arrested. And I was like, what kind of news is this? Like, it was so random. Like, I don't know, man. So I told my family the news, and I couldn't believe it. They couldn't believe it. So it was so random. So let me tell you guys about this. So, as I said, it was last Thursday morning. It was announced that head coach Chauncey Billups, Clipper legend by the way, he was a Clipper in the early days of my Clipper fandom. So I hope everything goes well for him. And then Heat guard Terry Rozier and Cleveland Cavaliers assistant coach Damian Jones were arrested for illegal gambling and rigged poker games that were backed up by the mafia. All 3 of them are part of the 34 people that the FBI arrested recently after a long investigation. And all these people came from 11 different states. So Terry Rozier, we're going to talk about him first. He was arrested in the team hotel in Orlando, Florida, while they were getting ready to play against the Orlando Magic. He's being accused of participating in an illegal sports betting scheme using insider NBA information. So pretty much just private information that isn't for the public eye, pretty much. So in this scheme, gamblers used information that wasn't for the public eye to bet on at least 7 games between March 2023 to March 2024, so in a year span. And these teams include the Charlotte Hornets, Orlando Magic, Portland Trailblazers, Los Angeles Lakers, and Toronto Raptors. In 3 of those 7 games, players would remove themselves from the game to help others win their bets. So pretty much just say like, oh, I'm out with an injury. Totally an injury. And then there you go. And then they bet the under. They win their bet. So there was this one instance on March 23rd, 2023, where Rozier told one of his childhood friends that he would remove himself from the game after the first quarter for supposedly having an injury. And I think it was a foot injury. Although the friend kept his information private, he sold that information to two bettors for $100,000. Those bettors used that information to bet on the unders on Rozier, which helped him win a lot of money. So in like sports books and stuff, you could pretty much bet on teams to win or on the spread or over-unders on the points. So let's say like the over-under for, I don't know, Clippers and Lakers. The spread, say like Clippers, they're minus 11.5. So they're favored by 11.5 points. And the over-under, let's just say like 237 or something like that. They would bet the under. But for players, you can bet under points, like Prize Picks. Then, let's just say like Terry Rozier for the next game, 11.5 points. You could bet the over-under. So they were betting the under. So obviously Terry Rozier, he only played the first quarter, so you can't get like 40 points in the first quarter. Unless if you're like Klay Thompson or something in one random quarter a long time ago when he scored 37 points in a quarter. But yeah, that is crazy if it is true. But all this is alleged, by the way, so this is still an ongoing case. So on Billups and Jones' part, they use their status, pretty much their celebrity status, like, hey, I'm in the NBA, I'm a coach for the NBA, to lure people into rigged poker games organized by the mafia. They would cheat in those poker games with special technology. These technology stuff includes shuffling machines that could read all the cards, poker chip trays with hidden cameras, contact lenses, and glasses that could read cards, and X-ray vision to see the cards when they are face down. And this is crazy technology in the big 2025. And the victims of this rigged poker game, they lost about $7 million. It's a lot of money. And one person alone, they lost $1.8 million. That is a lot. I feel bad for those people. So Jones, he also sold private information to bettors about having a close relationship with an NBA player, a notable NBA player, during his time with the Lakers and Cavaliers, who also had that private information. This is alleged, by the way. Although the player is not officially named, people are saying that player is... Do you guys want to guess? I'll give you 1 second. Cavaliers, Lakers. It is LeBron James, of what people are saying. So there was an instance on February 9th, 2023. Jones allegedly told a bettor to put a big bet on the Bucks to win. And they were playing against the Lakers. LeBron did not play in that game, and the Bucks won. Sources told ESPN, though, that LeBron wasn't aware of any of this happening. So, Billups and Rozier, they appeared in court, and they were released from custody under certain conditions. And all three of them are on immediate leave from the NBA. So, in the meantime, during this investigation, since Chauncey Billups is the head coach for the Portland Trailblazers, the assistant coach, Hawks legend, I think he played for the Hawks, Tiago Splitter, will be the head coach for the team. Because I was wondering who was the head coach for his team. It was Tiago Splitter. I didn't even know that he became an assistant coach. But that guy feels like, if you know who that guy is, you have elite ball knowledge. I remember seeing him play back in the day. So now we are going to go to my favorite part. We're going to be talking about the 3 Clipper games that have been going on. Well, there was a game yesterday, but we'll talk about that in the next episode. So they played against the Warriors last night. So we're going to be talking about the first 3 games so far. So the first one is the Clippers and Jazz. So a week ago from today, the Jazz and the Clippers, they kicked off their season. The Clippers had a lot of good action in the preseason, like what I told you from episodes 4 and 5, I was just really happy with what I saw from the rotation players. And it was great to see. Like Brook Lopez making a lot of shots. Bradley Beal looking good in the last preseason game and the only preseason game he played. Kawhi looking like Kawhi. James looking like James. Just everybody looking like themselves. So Bradley Beal, he's still playing and he started, but he was put on minute restriction. So this is the starting lineup. James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Ivica Zubac, Derrick Jones Jr., and Bradley Beal. So that is the starting lineup for now. So from the start of the game, it was terrible. Like, oh my God. You guys do not want to see what I looked like during this game. So I'm going to be putting a lot of it out there of how I felt about this game. So just bear with me here, all right? So here's how it went. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that. Going to be saying this, but here we go. So in the first 4 minutes of the game, Lauri Markkanen, he already scored 9 points for the Jazz. But that's pretty much our best player, so I don't know. But we couldn't guard him. And the Clippers, they were down 15-7. The rest of the quarter was a lot of buckets for the Jazz. While the Clippers were turning over a ball and missing a lot of shots. It was very hard to watch, guys. The Clippers were down 43-19 after the first quarter. And the Jazz were perfect from 2-point field goals, 12 for 12. And they made 4 threes in that quarter. It was very hard to watch, guys. I couldn't believe it. The Jazz lately, they have been, in the past years, they have been terrible. So I literally told my people, like, hey, we're going to win this game. And if the Clippers don't win by 20, it's pretty much going to be a loss. So even if they win by, 4 points, they're going to, this is pretty much a loss. I won't be happy with it. But instead, we lost by a lot. Spoiler alert, in case you haven't seen it. So the second quarter, it was the same story. But the Jazz doubled the amount of threes they hit in the first quarter. So they made 4 in the first quarter, right? They made 8 in the second quarter. To put it on top, Jazz guard Chauncey George hit a floater to beat the buzzer going into halftime. It was really bad, and I was literally like, you know what? So there was 6 seconds left, and they were going down full court. And I already knew of how they were going. They couldn't miss, so I was just like, oh my God, our defense is so bad. They're just going to score right here. Just watch. I literally told my family, they're going to score. Just watch. And that's what happened. Chauncey George, he went down full court, turning on the Jets. And then he made it. It was just so frustrating to watch. So they were up 24 at halftime, or after the first quarter. They were up 31 at halftime. So in the second half, it was still ugly. The Clippers tried to make a comeback, but they couldn't. They were down by 36 points at one point. The final score was 129-108. So we're going to be talking about some stats here real quick. The Jazz, they made 17 of 44 threes, which is 38%. I mean, 38%. I mean, it's like average, right? But they missed during overtime, so, or garbage time. So that's why their percentage looks like that. But when they were on a roll, they were like above 50%. And the Clippers, they shot 14 for 45 from 3. So they just chucked up a lot of shots because, you know, down big, you need to get buckets. So that's pretty much what happened. So from the field, the Jazz shot 55% and the Clippers 44%. Now into individuals. James Harden, 15 points, 11 assists. Kawhi Leonard, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists. Derrick Jones Jr., 12 points. Brook Lopez, 15 points, 5 for 11 from 3. Derrick Jones and Brook Lopez, they were the guys that stood out to me in this game. If I had to choose a players of the game for the Clippers, although it was pretty bad for everybody on the Clippers. John Collins, 14 points, 7 rebounds. Ivica Zubac, 19 points, 7 rebounds. Now for the Jazz, it looks good for everybody. Walker Kessler, 22 points, 9 rebounds. Lauri Markkanen, 20 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. Their young guy, Keontae George, 16 points, 9 assists. Bryce Sensabaugh, he had 20 points. He was unstoppable when we were guarding that guy. We couldn't guard him. Walter Clayton Jr., his first ever game. He played at Florida last year. I remember seeing him playing for Florida last year. They were the national champions in basketball. He had 10 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists in 18 minutes. I think he was a second-round pick or late second-round pick or late first-round pick, something like that. But we couldn't guard him either. I was so disappointed in my Clippers. Like, they didn't even look like they were competing either. It was pretty much the mentality that I have too. It's like, okay, we're just playing the Jazz, so, the NBA, they gave us a light one to start off the year. It's like varsity playing against JV, but no. It was terrible. But let's move on to the next 2 games, okay? Because yeah, they were pretty embarrassing. So the second game, it was the Clippers and Suns. So this is the home opener for the Clippers. And obviously I went to that game. So as you guys know, I am a Swell member, which is pretty much the heart of a wall. So if you see those people doing the free throw distractions at Intuit Dome at Clipper games, I'm one of those people. So I'm pretty much there behind the basket, chanting for the Clippers. But here's the thing, though. So it's first come, first serve. So you don't know where you're sitting until you walk into the arena with Face ID or Identity Pass or something. But yeah, it's a first come, first serve. So it's not guaranteed that you're in the Swell, so you gotta be early enough. My dad and I thought we were early enough, but we weren't. So we weren't in the Swell, but we were sitting in the wall. So we were sitting like way up in the wall. But it was still a fun experience, just a different perspective. And I also vlog every Clipper game that I go to this season, so on TikTok. So if you guys want to check that out, it's Tundra _baller _0. I'm going to say it one more time. Tundra _baller _0. And I'm vlogging every single Clipper game that I go to. Hopefully I could go to every Clipper home game, but if not, I'm at least going to most of them. Like last season, I missed about 8 games or something like that. And I went to about 37, including playoffs and a preseason game. So it's going to be a fun year. So going back into the game. So the Clippers, we were looking to bounce back from that embarrassing loss to the Jazz. It was really bad. Although the Suns traded away Kevin Durant in the summer, they still look like a solid team with Devin Booker, Jalen Green, and Dillon Brooks. Dillon Brooks is a problem, man. So I remember the Clippers, when we played against the Rockets last year, he would hit threes nonstop. So, yeah. And also, Jalen Green, he didn't play this game due to a hamstring injury. So, they didn't have their whole team. Pretty much just not him. But just like the Jazz game, it was a rough start once again. It wasn't that bad as the Jazz game, but it was still bad. 6.5 minutes into the game, the Clippers were already down by 9 points. Then after the bench players came in, the second team, John Collins, Brook Lopez, Chris Dunn, and Nico Batum, led by James Harden, they started going a roll after being down 9 points for the second time with a score of 28-19. the Clippers went on a 13-2 scoring run to take the lead. And after all of that, the Clippers were up 34-33 to end the quarter. And like I said about Dillon Brooks hitting a lot of three-pointers against my Clippers last year, he hit about 3 of them, I think, in the first quarter. And he finished with 5. But let's get into this. Let's see if they won. So they brought the same rhythm going into the second quarter, by starting off with a 12-0 scoring run, bringing their lead up to 13. And it took the Suns 4 minutes to score their first points in the second quarter with a Royce O'Neal three-pointer. James Harden at the last minute, he hit back-to-back threes before halftime. So he hit 3 straight threes from way downtown, and he was ready to hit 4, but Dillon Brooks fouled him, and they were going into it a little bit. But before things went further, the people were separating him. So Dillon Brooks, he was pretty much trying to get in his head, but I think James Harden got into his head. Because Dillon Brooks, he was in foul trouble too. He had 5 fouls the whole game. And if you get one more at 6 fouls, you're fouled out. And at halftime, the Clippers were up 72-56. So James Harden, he scored 9 straight points to end the quarter for the Clippers. Then once again, to start the second half, the Clippers went on another 12-0 scoring run to start the third quarter. The Clippers, they kept throwing punches left and right with a lot of buckets and stops on defense, and the Clippers won 129-102 for their first win of the season. So for some stats, James Harden, 30 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Kawhi Leonard, 27 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists. So our stars, when we need them, they're looking good. James looking like James. Kawhi looking like Kawhi. The Claw and the Beard being the Beard. The Claw being the Claw. Derrick Jones Jr., 17 points. He could hit threes, but he went 5 for 5 from way downtown. From the parking lot, he made 5 threes. Chris Dunn, 14 points. I would say that, so James and Kawhi, they were beating themselves and scoring a lot of points. But what really brought us back into the game, I think, when we were scoring a good amount, was Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn. They set the tone on defense. And I think that's the reason why that defense, we were allowing a lot of points in the first quarter, and then we just allowed about 70 points throughout the last 3 quarters. And then for the Suns, Devin Booker, he had 18 points, 7 assists, and Dillon Brooks, 21 points, their leading scorer for the Suns, and he made 5 for 10 from 3. The last game that we're going to talk about is the last Sunday's game, the Clippers against the Portland Trailblazers. So we talked about the Blazers a bit earlier with head coach Chauncey Billups being arrested, and now Tiago Splitter is now the head coach for the Blazers. So this was last Sunday, and I went again. I went to the game, and this time I was part of the squad. I was in the squad this time. I was second row on the right side, and I was close to the Portland bench. So whenever I'm that close to the bench, I try to trash talk. And, well, this time I wasn't able to. But before we talk about the game. So Damian Lillard, who is now back on the Blazers, he was looking at me and the rest of the swell. I'm not even joking when I say this. But he was looking at us, and I do not know why. I just started waving at him. Don't even ask me why. So I just started waving at him because he was looking at my direction. And then he just smiled and waved back. I wish I had that on camera for my vlog, for my TikTok. And if you guys need the @ again, is Tundra_baller_0. So you guys can see what it's like to be a Clipper fan and, going to games because here's the thing. I want to be a reporter for the Clippers in the future. And I'm doing this to pretty much put my name out there, and TikTok, because all the algorithms and stuff, is pretty much the easiest way on social media to put your name out there. So I'm excited of what I'm doing. And that day I also filmed 2 more videos. So I pretty much did 3 videos in one day at Intuit Dome at the time I was there. So upcoming video is pretty much asking Clipper fans what would you say to the haters, pretty much saying that the Clippers have no fans, because I would get comments like that saying, the Clippers have fans? What? Clippers have fans? And then I also did a video on the Clippers shop, pretty much all the cool stuff in their store called the Flagship. But going back into the game, so Bradley Beal, he was out due to lower back soreness, so it's another injury we have to deal with, and I went for Bradley Beal. But Bogdan Bogdanovic, he got the start, and this is the first time he is playing this season. He was out for rotation the last 2 games, because I feel like we have a lot of great players, but Ty Lue, he said he's only going to play about 11 players, or 10 players. Is not ideal for 11-man rotation. So there would be a odd man out, and turns out that Bogey was the odd man out, but he got his first start this time. So they were getting stops, and it was a great start for a first time. They were getting stops, making shots, and they were up 34-23 to end the quarter. The second quarter, though, it was the opposite. We pretty much led up, and we were getting out-rebounded, and we couldn't get rebounds on the miss. They had 7 offensive rebounds in the second quarter alone. No good. You have to get rebounds on defense. And the Clippers were down 10 with a minute left in the second quarter, but they cut down the lead to half, which is 5 at halftime. It could have been a 2-point game when Kawhi made a 3-pointer off the buzzer, but it didn't count. His hand was still on the ball when the clock was at 0-0. So the second half, it was a lot better for the Clippers. And before we go into the second half, so there was this guy for the Blazers named Toumani Camara. He was talking trash to us, saying, hey, look at the scoreboard in the second quarter. But he was quiet in the second half because we were doing a lot better. We were making shots, getting stops. We still allowed offensive rebounds, but we got to work on that. They were still in the game, but the Clippers won 114-107, improving the Clippers' record to 2-1. And hopefully 3-1 from last night's game against the Warriors. So, Kawhi Leonard, 30 points, 10 rebounds, season high for him. Vita Zubac, 21 points, 8 rebounds. James Harden, 21 points, 8 rebounds. John Collins, 16 points, 6 assists. And then for the Blazers, Danny Avdija, 23 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Drew Holiday, 21 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists. Shannon Sharp, 19 points, 5 rebounds. Jeremy Grant, 17 points. Those guys were pretty much the biggest contributors from the Blazers, but they look solid. So hopefully they do good during the year, but not against us though. And then the guy that was talking trash, Toumani Camara, 5 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists. You know, you have to think first before you start talking trash. Alright guys, that is it for episode 6 of Fast Break with Tundra Baller. If you guys want to give me some feedback or give me some ideas, check out my Instagram and let me know. It's Tundra_baller_0. Same thing as my TikTok. You guys can message me on any platform you want. And I'll see you guys next week. We're going to be doing more exciting content. I'll see you guys next Wednesday.